Hello, everyone. My name is Dread. Welcome to Miss Valley Entertainment News. It's been a hot minute, I know. You're like, Dread, you're still here? You're still alive? Yes, I am. I've been working like a dog for a while now. I finally got a little bit of time off to try to catch up on life. So the videos have not been coming out lately, but beyond that, I just haven't found much I really wanted to make a video on lately. There's nothing that really piqued my interest enough to get my passions up to say I gotta talk about this. And sometimes we hit kind of a lull. I mean, there's been things happening out there, but just nothing that I felt like commenting on. And sometimes on this channel, that's the way things are going to go because if I don't feel a story, I'm not bringing it to you. But here we're going to talk about some more Star Wars, Kathleen Kennedy, Leslie Headland, name calling, finger pointing. Oh, we didn't do anything wrong. It's all the toxic men out there stuff. Yeah, we're going to cover all that. Away we go, people. We got two videos to react to in this one. Reacting to one by Melanie Mac Go Boom here called Star Wars The Acolyte Blames Failure on Men. And then we're going to be reacting to a Mr. H Reviews video called Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy, Star Wars Fans Are Toxic Men. So let's get through this so we don't take too much of your time. Hopefully this will be entertaining and fun and help pass on a little bit of knowledge to you as well. Let's go.
Star Wars continues to blame men for their girl power failure. And I don't mean the good kind of girl power. Not the good kind of girl power. I'm talking the failure version of girl power that they have been pushing with all their stuff that nobody likes right now. So anyway, yes, I am talking about the Acolytes.
Yay.
And it's not been going so well. So
is anybody out there excited for the Acolyte? I mean, I have to imagine there are some people who are pretty excited about it. Right? I mean, there has to be some people out there who are. I would say the percentage of people versus, on one hand, the people who are excited to see it, excited about it coming out, and on the other hand, the people who are like, yeah, no, this looks like it's going to be crap. I would imagine the percentage is heavily weighed towards the crap right now, but there is going to be a percentage of people who are actually excited about it. If you're excited about the Acolyte and you're like, no, Dread, I totally want to see this. It looks great. Drop down in the comments and let me know. Be interested in hearing from you.
let's go ahead and dive into this from Bounding into Comics. Lucasfilm boss Kathleen Kennedy defends The Acolyte, says
she does.
Star Wars female cast and crew face unfair criticism because of the fan base being so male-dominated. Let's think for a second. Let's look back at some female lead successes, okay? Tomb Raider,
lots of them out there.
Massive success. Look at a bunch of anime. We got Claymore. We got a bunch of female
Resident Evil movies,
even action genre, anime and manga. You've got Witchblade, the comics. You've got Underworld, the movies that got a bazillion sequels. You've got Alien, and many, many more that have been successful in male-dominated spaces, right? So if you want to really try to unpack why this is getting criticism, maybe you need to think, maybe this isn't the good kind of girl power.
And, maybe sometimes people need to wake up that this narrative that men hate women or men want to keep women down, it just is a narrative that doesn't really exist. Yes, there's a small percentage of men out there who are like that. But at the same time, I think we overinflate sometimes the women hating men as well. And I think the percentages are actually both pretty similar. That's my guess, and both pretty low. But media and social media likes to focus on those two groups and blow them up to be really big because for some reason media and social media want any kind of war between people. Sex wars, race wars, you name it. Left versus right wars, this moral versus this moral war. They want to pit everybody against each other. And I think governments want that a lot of time as well because it allows them to come up with a solution and step in. All we need is more of your tax dollars and we'll solve everything. I just think there's a lot of false narratives out there being pushed. Um, and I don't think there's a whole lot of men out there, percentage wise, that actually hate women and want to keep women down. Nor do I think all women out there have become men haters either. I think the percentage of that with those women are very low as well. I think most human beings just want to get along with everybody and are basically good-hearted people. So my encouragement to you is not to listen to those narratives who want to fracture people off into this group and this group and pit them against each other, because I believe it's a pushed narrative, to keep people at each other's throats. And that doesn't enable people then to focus on the real problems out there.
That guys like to see, because guys like to see girl power stuff. It has succeeded.
Absolutely.
I mean, lately, I think a lot of men are checking out of girl power stuff.
I like to see girl power stuff as long as it's not putting men down. I mean, hey, I'm an original Spice Girls fan. I mean, hey, girl power, right? I mean, I did. I like the Spice Girls. Are they my style of music? Most of their music is not my style of music, but I still appreciate them. I will listen to them. I will look at them. I'm a guy. I'll look at them, and I appreciate what they did. For the most part, I never really heard them that I can ever think of putting down men either. They were about raising up women, and that's fine. That's fine by me. Although I do have to say, if you try to raise up men, you're going to be called toxic and hateful. So things aren't always fair, but I'm totally for girl power stuff. I really am, as long as it's not girl power at the expense of men, or girl power pointing at men and saying how bad men are.
Just because it hasn't been good lately. And that's one reason why Furiosa, for example, is doing terrible in the box office.
I've not seen
now,
that yet.
Is it a terrible movie?
I'll probably watch it, though.
A lot of people are saying that's not the case. A lot of people like it. I haven't seen it yet. I can't make a call on it personally. My opinion why I haven't watched Furiosa is because I just have no desire to watch something that looks like there's a ton of green screen going on, when I prefer more practical effects, especially with Mad Max. And
kind of how I felt about the prequel trilogy for Star Wars. I mean, I still liked the prequel trilogy for Star Wars, but it was so much green screen. God, so much green screen.
Something without Mad Max even being the focus it's a spinoff, but still, I digress. The whole franchise was started off of a male protagonist. And then not only that, but if you're gonna have Furiosa, I just think Charlize Theron, I don't think anyone can beat her in that, and she'd be.
So I'm right then in the fact that Charlize Theron is not in the movie. It's probably a younger Furiosa or something, which I'm not really sure. But to me, when you establish a character with a Hollywood heavyweight who does a very good job at it, and then you, as a secondary character, she's not the main character. Obviously, Mad Max is. Oh, she's pretty close to the main character in that movie. And then you go and you get a Splinter movie going off, focusing just on that character, and then you replace her with somebody else. That's a hard sell. That's a damn hard sell. Charlize Theron does a great job at pretty much everything she puts her hand to. That's a hard sell.
Be too old to play a prequel version of Furiosa, okay. So just, it didn't need to happen. It was unnecessary. And the story and all that, just everything from the trailer did not impress me enough to go want to see it. A bunch of components there. But I do think that as a whole, I can't speak for men, but just from what I am at least observing and what I feel is the case, feel free to chime in the comments, men. But I do think that a lot of men are checked out of the girl power stuff just because they haven't done it well in a while.
It's true. I mean, I've seen clips and breakdowns of the Marvel series Echo. Like, wow, that looked like a hot mess of garbage. Um, that was a while ago now. I understand, but yeah, there's a lot of it that's come out that is just garbage. It's garbage writing. It's garbage directing. It's garbage acting. It's garbage characters. It's not well done. Obviously, that is a big problem. But the other problem is people are checking out men. I think out of the girl power stuff because they expect nowadays that girl power is all about white men are bad, white men are bad, white men are bad, and they're going to point it out 10,000 times in the show or the movie or whatever. And we don't want to hear that shit. We don't want to hear it. It's toxic itself. Why would we let that into our lives? Why?
And it's a shame because there's some really good stuff out there, but not in recent times. I can't even, and this is even as a woman who I love girl power films. I love girl power video games, anime, all that kind of stuff. But I don't really like, I can't think off the top of my head of anything recent that had that girl power thing going on.
Just off the top of my head here, just a little bit off topic though, not too much. Anybody ever see the hack and slash comics? I believe they're put out by Image Comics. I believe I can't remember now, maybe not. Hack and slash. It's about Cassie Hack, whose mother was a serial killer, and who then has a monster with her and goes after slashers all over the world, kind of thing. Very brutal horror adventure type comic. To me, very, very popular. And it's a wonder that someone has not come up with a really kick-ass movie for that. Come up with an idea for a movie and said, look, we've got to put the right people in, get the right people to write and direct this and act this. Don't put men down in it. You could make a series of films if you do this right. I think that would be one of those. If they stay true to the comic as much as possible, I think that would be a kick-ass series of films with a woman protagonist that would probably do very, very well if it's written correctly and it stays true to the basic characters of the and situations of the comic. Uh, so there's lots of stuff out there again that men would flock to, I bet. But you know what? The problem is by the time you go, okay, so we got to hire this woman to write it, and she's got to be a man hater and usually a lesbian, and then we gotta cast somebody. We'll cast a lesbian in the main role, and any other women roles we'll make sure to we'll no makeup and a boy cut hair and make sure they look more like men and then we'll make sure that we, talk about how toxic men are in the whole thing. And anybody who criticizes it is a toxic white man. So we win. No, you don't. That's usually what happens to these things. Anyways, I digress.
That I thought was great. In the at least in the West. I mean, anime still does.
You're a hack and slash fan. Drop down. Let me know.
So let's continue. According to Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy, the backlash to the Acolyte existence is not a result of Star Wars fans' current exhaustion with the franchise's production level focus on identity politics,
of course not.
But rather the misogynistic attitudes of its primary male fan base. I mean, dude, even look at
it. It's not what it obviously is, people. It's what I say it is.
Other stuff that they've been doing that hasn't been doing well. So it's so much, it goes so far beyond just this. And they're not learning from their mistakes. They're doubling down, tripling down. Same with Disney. They have been producing flops and they're losing money, but they're quadrupling down anyway instead of giving people what they want to see. Kennedy offered this defense of the Leslie Headland helmed series greenlighting while speaking to the New York Times' Brooke Barnes in promotion of its upcoming premiere. Asked by Barnes if she had any thoughts on the widespread despair felt by fans that The Acolyte would be yet another message first, entertainment second project from the House of Mouse, the Disney exec asserted. My belief is that storytelling does need to be representative of all people. That's an easy decision for me.
Except white males. We don't want a representative of white males because they're bad. And no, that's clearly not racist to say, because you can't be racist against white males. Again, I'm pretty sure Hitler said you can't be racist against Jews. I'm pretty sure Hitler probably uttered those things to those who said he was racist. Again, I'm not saying Disney is Hitler, because that would be an unfair comparison, but there is comparisons in the past to be made to people who have been unfairly treated and unfairly pointed out in ways that are clearly racist, yet the person who was doing it said that's not racist. If you're saying everybody of one sex and one race is bad, those are racist comments, period. There is no, whoa, but, no. No buts. That is racist. In the box, racist box. Smash with a hammer.
Operating within these giant franchises now with social media and the level of expectation, it's terrifying, Kennedy then asserted, pushing back against the series' pre-release critics. I think showrunner Leslie Headland has struggled a little bit with it. I think a lot of the women who step into Star Wars struggle with this a bit more because of the fan base being so male dominated. They sometimes get attacked in ways that can be quite personal. Dude, write good stuff, make good stuff, and
and which personal attacks? I mean, yes, on the internet there's always going to be people who will take personal attacks against anybody. I'm on a lot of sports sites. I see the hatred between fan bases at times and stuff, and it sickens me. It absolutely sickens me. Which is why I never comment on sports articles. Never. As far as actually typing something in the comment section. But yes, there is personal attacks all over the internet. And if you happen to know that every single one of those people who are making those personal attacks are white males, well, you're a far better person than I am. I don't know how you'd know that. But it happens in all genres of life on the internet. People are just emboldened to be hateful assholes on the internet. Absolutely. If you don't know that, you've probably never been on the internet, which congratulations, you're probably the sanest of us all then. But some people, if you want to point out something personal about them, like Leslie Headland, she was a personal assistant for Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein, who is in jail right now for the rest of his natural life because of all the sick things he did to women in the entertainment industry. She was his personal assistant. Never once did she squeal on him. Never once did she give any interviews where she said, yes, he did some of these things. Never once did, when the court cases came against him, never once was she called to testify and said, yes, I agree with the people who are saying these things happened. They did happen. No, she was silent. She was his personal secretary, his personal assistant, not just secretary, assistant, 4 years. She was the closest person in the entertainment industry to him. Excuse me, I'm getting a phone call right now. I can't take it, but I'm just waiting for it to end. No awkward pause here at all, people. No awkward pause. My apologies. So Leslie Headland, to me, you try to tell me that she's not complicit in the things Harvey Weinstein did. Go ahead, try to prove it to me. I'm going to wait right here for you. Go ahead. Yeah, I didn't think so. Can I prove she is complicit? Nope. But I could certainly have enough to point my finger at her and say, personal assistant to Harvey Weinstein, hello, hello, hello. Where's your standing up for all the women who were abused by your master? Hello, hello. Maybe she was so close to Harvey because maybe she was involved in those things. She was at least involved in, she had to have known about them and didn't say a word, didn't protect anybody, didn't help anybody. So is Leslie Headland sticking up for women? Please don't tell me she's sticking up for women. I call bullshit. Leslie Headland does not stick up for women. She is not about empowering women. She is not. She is not, plain and simple. She is not. She may be about empowering now, as we see with her film. She may be about empowering lesbians, for sure. I think that's becoming obvious with her film. That's where her loyalties lie, her sympathies lie. That's what she's going to do. That's her prerogative. But don't let this be a Leslie Headland's all about empowering females. She is the opposite of that. She is a female predator. Just want to point that out. So people wanting to point out those kind of things online, you want to call that personal attacks because it's male dominated, by fandom is toxic, blah, 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 blah. No, it's because some people out there need to have a light shone on them. Because they're despicable creatures who should run back and scurry into the darkness.
People would like it. It has nothing to do with the fact that, oh, it's just because these are women here. It's not. If it's not being done well, and if we have been burned time and time and time again, then no, we don't expect anything good to come out of this. And I mean, the trailer looked like garbage. It's just mind-boggling to me. It's like all of these modern current-day writers that are trying to make stuff for the modern audience, they don't know what people actually want to see, or they do know, and they're just trying to shift the narrative and shift the perspective of everything. Mm-hmm. Look at what we have seen with continuing characters. As always, I gotta talk about Lara Croft. We see what they've done with Lara Croft. We have this beautiful bombshell babe who does whatever the heck she wants because she wants to. She's rambunctious. She's an act first, ask questions later type who gets herself in trouble because of her recklessness. She's chaotic. She's a thief. She's selfish. She's probably a psychopath. That is what people loved about classic Lara Croft. So they took a character like this, they toned down her physical appearance to make her more relatable, and not only that, but they Mary Sued her as well because, oh, wait a minute, now, and what we're seeing with the crossover materials, what's possibly and most likely going to bleed into the next game and all this stuff is Crystal Dynamics is now pushing this narrative that, oh, Lara Croft, she isn't a grave robber. She's not a thief. She likes to restore artifacts, bring them back to their rightful owners. That's the narrative they're pushing now. So whenever you take a character who was flawed, who was exceptionally beautiful, but still had personality flaws and all of that, and you tone down her physical appearance, and then you make her a goody two shoes Mary Sue, she can never do anything wrong, then yeah, people are going to check out. That's not
non-relatable then.
And we see that so much with all kinds of things where it's like, okay, wait a minute. With all this Star Wars stuff, even look at the last Star Wars trilogy, right? You had Rey, where she was just a Mary Sue. She was dull and boring.
I would like to point out in the first movie of the sequel trilogy, which was called I can't remember now, blanking out. Anyways, she did have more personality there and a lot of mystery to her as well, and they were setting up the character better. They wrote that character fairly good. She had some humor, that kind of thing, and there was a lot of questions. People were like, who is this? What's her background? How did she become like this? And there was character there, but they didn't continue it. Different writers went and just completely dropped the ball. So I do think, although that first movie was kind of a ripoff of Star Wars, what came before, absolutely, they played it super safe and kind of rewrote the script, put other people into it. Yes, absolutely. But I still thought it was a good movie in and of itself. It was just after that, it just completely tanked. So I thought her character was well written at the beginning. Just was never followed through on.
As a result of that. And it's just a shame because and if they want to be like, oh, you know, this is for women. This is because we love women. Well, freaking, you can't freaking love women that much if you keep writing them so crappy. Why can't female characters be flawed? Why?
Yeah. You know what? We're going to leave it right here. There is a little bit more, another 3 minutes and some to this, but we're going to link both these videos down below. I'm going to hit the second one by Mr. H here. Mr. H reviews. Let's get into this one.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Kathleen Kennedy, she's wheeled herself out of the depths of Lucasfilm to begin the premature
Deep depths.
blame game for Star Wars The Acolyte and Star Wars in general. That's right. Lucasfilm boss Kathleen Kennedy says a lot of women in Star Wars struggle with fan attacks, quote, because of the fan base being so male-dominated. Is that why they were trying to replace it with women then? Is that why everyone likes Princess Leia? What?
Is that why, clearly on the internet, the only attacks being made against people are made by men, right? No, I don't think so.
Huh? What are you talking about, mate? No. It's because you've been making garbage products.
Garbage.
That's all it is.
Right.
It's funny how certain women don't face the ire of anyone. And that it's all fine.
Yep.
You dunce. How just...
Mr. H, you're awesome.
It's so disingenuous. I hate these arguments. But anyway, let's take a look, shall we? Hit subscribe if you're new, folks. Turn the bell notifications on. And if you like what I do here, support further via Patreon. First link down below. Anyway. So... this is part of a wider conversation that she did as an interview with the New York Times. This is all to do with like the Acolyte, basically. But there's some interesting excerpts just specifically about Star Wars. So we're covering it and sort of doing bit by bit, essentially breaking a larger piece down into more, I don't know, poignant chunks. So this is what it's from the New York Times. You're gonna have a weird account to view it there. So we're not gonna go there. I don't want them to have my details anyway. So it says here, in a new interview with the New York Times for the upcoming Star Wars series The Acolyte, Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy said she is aware that women in the space franchise, alright, space opera, but fine, are often attacked online more than men. Are they, though? Are they?
Can you prove it?
Because
where's the numbers?
The whole, like, Rose Tico situation, most people didn't attack her. They were like, why have you put this character in here? Why have you made her ugly? Because, the actor behind Rose Tico was, relatively like attractive woman, but they uglified her. So people were like, why are you making her ugly? They weren't attacking her. They were like, why have you done this to this individual? And largely, people have supported Daisy Ridley, largely, especially more recently, which, fine, sure, do whatever you like. I don't feel like people have attacked women more so than men. I think that's a false... I reject that narrative straight off, unless people can show me demonstrable evidence of that on a large scale. Don't just say it, prove it. But I just don't see it.
Prove it.
I don't see it at all. So anyway...
just because you say it doesn't make it so.
Because of the fan base being so male-dominated. So it's just... apparently men just hate women is what you're saying. That's not the case. That's not the case at all. Like, yeah, no, that's not true. It's just not true. Unbelievable. It says this. Female stars Daisy Ridley and Kelly Marie Tran certainly faced online harassment from toxic fans when the most recent Star Wars film trilogy was released, and now The Acolyte is already being attacked in certain corners of the fandom. Who's attacked? No one's attacking the Acolyte for the women.
Oh,
People are... What? People are...
to be fair, there's a few assholes out there who are just sexist, misogynist jerks, but they're always out there. I mean, again, it's the internet. All the worst people come out on the internet and are emboldened to say stupid ass things. But because a few people say that, doesn't mean that that's what everyone's saying. That's stupidity to even believe that.
Going, hey, Leslie Headland's the former assistant to Harvey Weinstein. She's probably got some skeletons in the closet.
Thank
She
you.
probably does.
Yeah.
Anyone who doesn't
No
think
doubt.
that, you're a moron.
Her closet's made out of
And no one's
skeletons.
attacking Star Wars The Acolyte as a product of being, having women. They're attacking it because it looks like shit.
Yeah.
You disingenuous turds. How bizarre. FYI, I'll watch this show, as I always do, right? I review
God
each
bless
piece
you.
of media as it is, on its own merit. So, like the trailer releases, I review that. It looks like garbage. Some of the designs are creatively bankrupt and crap. And then I'll watch the show and I'll give you my actual opinion on it. If it changes, I'll tell you it's changed. God. Anyway, it says this. The Acolyte is an original story created by Leslie Headland that's set long before the events of The Phantom Menace. Headland, known for directing films such as Sleeping with Other People, great, and co-creating Netflix's hit comedy series Russian Doll, is the first woman to serve as showrunner of a Star Wars series. Who cares? She's the first woman to serve as showrunner. We've had directors. What? Honestly. I don't think there was a significant amount of hate for Kelly Marie Tran as an individual. People were like, why have you done this to her character, Rose Tico? What have you done to her? Why did you uglify her? Why did you, just introduce her and then put her to one side? Like, it was commentary about certain things you did with characters. Like, Daisy Ridley herself didn't face huge amounts of backlash. It was, you've created a Mary Sue.
Yeah, the character.
That's what the commentary was about. It's so disingenuous. All of this stuff is so incredibly disingenuous. It always is. Now it says this. As reported by The Times, a loud primordial part, what, we Neanderthals?
Of course we are.
Of the Star Wars fandom has pushed back in predictable fashion against the show. Why are there so many women, girls, and minority characters increasingly dominating the ranks of the Jedi? That is a perfectly legitimate question.
It is a legitimate question, but I'm torn on that one, Mr. H. I'm torn on that one because it sounds like you're basically asking why aren't more white people in it? Is kind of what you're asking. Why are there not more white men? Well, if there's basically no white men, whereas there has been before, then unless something happened to Star Wars, you're saying that in the Star Wars universe, the Jedi, because this is in the past, slowly got overtaken by more white men. Unless you're explaining that into the movie or into the lore somewhere, I guess it's fine to ask where the white men are, why there aren't any at this point in Star Wars history. I guess you can ask that, but you got to be careful asking that because it's a sex and race thing that does make you sound even though I can understand how you can ask that question and just be wondering. Maybe you shouldn't voice it on the internet. I don't know. I'm not telling people what to say and what not to say. I'm just saying when you step back and look at some of those questions, they're iffy. That's all I'm saying.
No, guys, don't trust your own eyes. No, we're definitely changing everything, but you can't ask why. Oh, all right then, I'll just fucking shut up then. It's a perfectly legitimate question. There's no hatred there.
And I think the answer to the question is because your showrunner, who's in charge of the show, has decided they don't want this show to appeal to white males. They want it to appeal to anybody else except for white males. So they've not put any basically white males in it. I mean, there's probably some, but that's been a design decision from your showrunner, Leslie Headland, on down. So the correct question would be, why? Why was that decision made to not include white male characters? And that's a loaded question that can get into a lot of other topics, but it's a fair question to at least ask in your mind at the very least. Yes.
Is why are women and girls and minority characters dominating the ranks of the Jedi? What's wrong with asking that? Can't notice things though, can you? That's racist and sexist.
Racist?
Douchebags. Sure. Reads a comment on the Acolyte trailer, with others expressing similar worldview. So? And some other trolls have nicknamed Headland's series the Woke Light. That's not that funny, to be fair. My belief is that storytelling does need to be representative of all people, Kennedy told Publication about her support for Headland's The Acolyte. That's an easy decision for me. What about the white men then?
Yeah, not them. We don't like them.
Operating within these giant franchises now with social media and the level of expectation, it's terrifying. I think Leslie has struggled a little bit with it. I think a lot of the women who step into Star Wars struggle with this a bit more because of the fan base being so male dominated. They sometimes get attacked in ways that can be quite personal.
Yeah, we looked at this already.
Leslie Headland deserves ire. She was the personal assistant of Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
Why are you trying to gaslight everyone into...
Reprehensible human being. Just on that alone.
Believing a false narrative. What's wrong with you?
Reprehensible. Evil.
And then we've got stupid comments from Headland. Headland's already started to limit her exposure to online chatter. As a fan myself, I know how frustrating some Star Wars storytelling in the past has been. I felt it myself. I stand by my empathy for Star Wars fans, but I want to be clear. Anyone who engages in bigotry, racism or hate speech, I don't consider a fan. No one fucking cares what you think, you dickhead. You are the personal assistant of Harvey Weinstein, or were. You are scum. You are detritus. Anyway, thoughts down below. Bye.
And as far as that last comment by her, she doesn't get to pick who is a fan of Star Wars and who isn't. Oh, well, I find your comments to be this. Therefore, you must be this, so you're not a fan. Well, okay, first of all, Kathleen Kennedy finding something sexist or racist or whatever else. Kathleen Kennedy, again, has never stood up for women, ever. She has been the opposite of standing up for women. She has stood by silently or involved in it, maybe, while women were preyed upon. She had the power to do something about that and chose for years to do nothing. She does not stand up for women. Who is she standing up for? God only knows. But do I trust her ability to call somebody racist or sexist or this or that based on her listening to or reading a comment by somebody? She doesn't know the person commenting, does she? Does she know the person? Does she know their inner workings? Has she been inside of them and can understand all their thoughts and the way they are? And, no. So what gives her the ability to make that decision, to then look at a comment and call somebody something and say they're definitely this or they're definitely that because of their comment? Second of all, even if a person is racist or sexist or has made a racist or sexist comment, which maybe was made in bad jest, who knows? Especially when things are typed on a keyboard, it's pretty hard to understand if somebody's trying to be sarcastic, somebody's trying to be funny. If they don't put LOL, how do we know? I mean, there's no way to tell what someone's intent was or what they were feeling behind what they're saying by the printed word. But even if somebody is sexist or racist, does that mean they can't be a fan? No. Stupid. Of course they can. Leslie Headland doesn't get to decide which people are or are not fans of Star Wars. So that whole comment she made is stupid. It's garbage. Toss it out the fucking window. It makes no sense. But you know what? People say a lot of words and try to convince you their words are right when they're usually really, really wrong and just wanting to manipulate you. That's my thought on that. Take that as you will. Look, what do you think about all this? This is what the comment section's for. What do you think about what Disney is doing? What do you think about what Star Wars is doing? Do you think that there is something going on in culture right now where white men are being picked on unfairly, um, singled out, and lumped together as a problem in society? Do you think that's racist or sexist? Drop down and let me know what you think. And let me know what you think about the Acolyte. Again, are you interested in seeing the Acolyte? Are you not interested in it? And why? What are your reasons for either? And that's going to be the end of it. This ran longer than I thought it was going to. So thank you all for your time for Miss Valley Entertainment News. My name is Dread. We'll see you in the next video. Ta-ta.